Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we have Doomsday Kingdom, issue number 2, Fireworks and Fevers, and this is the writer commentary. Now, for those new, or maybe for those who don't remember, when we're releasing a new issue, like recently we released issue number 4 on digital release. We're going to take the digital sales and then buy our first batch of physical copies to stock the website. But we're releasing issue 4, so as promised, we're going to go back into issue 2 and do a writer commentary of the full story. And then maybe in a few weeks, we're going to get with the artist and do a artist commentary track of the full issue. Now, we already did this with issue number 1. And something happened with the writer commentary. We had to take it offline. I think YouTube somehow took out like a minute of it in the middle. I might just redo it and then re-upload it, but that will make it back up on the website or on the YouTube channel. But we also have the artist commentary for issue number 1. That is still up. It's like 5 parts. We're going through all the art, though, so that one's going to be longer. This is really informal. It's going to be a longer video. I mean, I have no idea. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But we're going to dive in here and talk about fun facts, behind the scenes, the story, and some of the ideas that went into it. Now, we're only doing this, as far as I know, for the first volume. Who knows? This could be something we do for more issues, but I did say we would at least do it for the first volume, so we will eventually talk about all 5 issues and show them off on the YouTube channel here or the website, depending on if it goes up on one or both. Anyway, now this is Doomsday Kingdom, issue number 2, called Fireworks and Fevers. Fireworks made it to the cover for 2 reasons. One, it's one of my favorite holidays. I love Halloween. I love the 4th of July with the fireworks mainly and hanging out with friends and family. And obviously I like Christmas and all that goes into that. But the fireworks made it because it also plays an important role in the story in a couple moments. Now, I won't get into spoilers for the future storyline, but this is a bit of a symbolic cover for not only the story in it, but also the story to come and something that happens with fireworks down the road. So this isn't the last of what you've seen with the fireworks, and looking or thinking of the story and how it's all blended, I really do think you guys will appreciate how subtly these all intertwine. Like something about this cover will eventually intertwine with something around issue 30 or 40 in such a unique way. I feel as the writer, but also a reader and a fan first, a fan of the genre, a fan of great stories, it would be something I would appreciate. So I'm hoping you guys will also appreciate down the road. So we got the fireworks, we got Tristan and his son on the cover, which this is supposed to be Tristan. I'm not really sure why he has a backpack. Maybe that's because of the 4th of July thing. I don't really remember, but this was written before. We'll have to ask the artist for sure, but this was drawn before he ever drew Tristan in the story, and it was actually Tristan and his son in the original story, not his daughter. I changed it at the last minute just because I had a daughter, and and this is just a weird coincidence, I was a single parent. The character, originally, this character in this part of the story was originally the side story, or one of the side stories and one of the side characters. He was just a supporting character. And again, this is in one of the really old original drafts, and he always lost his wife in a car accident 3 months before the outbreak. And it was his son, not a daughter. But again, at the very last moment, I changed it to a daughter. I changed her name to Julie, because I had a daughter named Juliet, or I have a daughter named Juliet. And I thought it would be just a neat little Easter egg for fans of the channel. I know a lot of people thought, or may have thought, and a couple even said, oh, that's nice how it connects and yada, yada, yada. And I'm telling you, that was just a weird coincidence. Anyway, so that explains the cover and why it doesn't really look like Tristan, the character himself. Well, you only see the back of his head, but It would also explain why the kid doesn't look like Julie either, but we'll confirm it with the artist. But I'm pretty sure this was drawn before he ever did officially Tristan in the comic itself. Now, the inside cover is something I thought would be fun, it's something I've never seen done yet in the comic industry. Maybe it has, maybe in a different way, but the idea is the inside cover for each issue would be an exclusive piece of artwork that you can only get on the website, doomsdaykingdom.com. You would have to purchase the Signature Series edition, which comes with a signed copy of the comic by both me and the artist, and then a signed bookplate of the exclusive artwork, and it's only limited to 150, and we will never recreate this image again and sell it on any other art prints. Again, that was the whole idea. And I'm hoping this is something we can continue for at least a little bit. I think that would be awesome if we can continue it for a long time, but at least for the first volume, I think that would be amazing. If you guys are even still interested, if you're not, that's all right. Maybe we can phase it out, but I think that's incredible. You get a piece of artwork that you can't get anywhere else except for the Signature Series bundle. The Signature Series, purchasing that, it incredibly helps us a lot because it's so hard to make enough profit to buy stock and to keep stock on hand and do the shipping and everything else involved. So it helps incredibly. Even when we're not selling comics, we still have to pay for the website every month. We still have to pay for the shipping account, the certain software and the Photoshop, multiple different things, software and all these accounts. We always have to pay for, even though we're not actually selling a comic that month. There's multiple months, so it really does help. So thank you very much for everyone supporting and buying the comic and buying the extras. Speaking of which, issue number 2, page 1, it was created to be the first page, but also it was created to be a poster, and that's why it looks like this. This is called the Memories page. Now, if you need a refresher on issue number 1, and don't forget, for a limited time, issue number 1 is free for digital download on the website, doomsdaykingdom.com. But it ended like this, with the writer in a chair and the Guardian leader asking, "Who are you?" And he's just chilling in his chair. If you read the story, you'll get why that's more of an ending than... wait, what? That's an ending? He's sitting in a chair. We're not going for any ridiculous cliffhangers here. We're going for the full weight, the punch to the gut with the story that has some depth to it. So you have the writer in his chair, and then if you read it in continuation, the very next page would be the memories of somebody thinking back of multiple different traumatic experiences that brought him or them to the certain moment. So this is the writer here. We have the creeps in the background, and then we have what looks like a city landscape that's maybe on fire from the looks of it. This is a symbolic image. We will see everything on this page. We will see it again in the full context of the actual story. So this is symbolic for something coming up. This is actually symbolic for a big chunk of the storyline coming up. We have the Doomsday Clown. It says, "What, not funny?" This is a part of the story coming up a lot quicker than most of the images on this page. For example, if you don't know what issue number 5's cover looks like, here it is. It's called Tears and Terror, and it has the clown from the Memories page of issue number 2, page number 1. We have this bloody scene here. We have the Doomsday Cowboy, the Doomsday couple with the creeper hands reaching up. We have the rider with his Wolverine-like signature weapon, the claw, a burning house, and the body bags. Again, about the Signature Series, this is the Signature Series for issue number 4, and it's the rider with his claw-like weapon. There's a few times where I pay respects or pay homage to stuff I loved in pop culture growing up, in movies or comics. And when I was a kid, I loved The Punisher, but I also loved Wolverine comics. Loved it a lot, So this is a little paying homage to that. And just that. He doesn't grow, he's not a mutant. He doesn't grow claws out of his hands, but he does have this weapon that's Wolverine-like. Anyway, we've got this this guy with body armor here. Looks pretty wild and unique, and I love how this connects. If you read issue 3, you already know a little bit how this starts to connect, but we will see more of that as the story continues. We've got this here, which is one of the scenes I'm so excited for. We have the throne. We have a guy here saying every kingdom needs a king. And then we have the Creeper King, which again, it is symbolic. We don't actually have a zombie king that controls the masses and all that, but you will fully understand when we get to that part in the story. I don't want to say anything else because it is one of my most precious moments in the storytelling. Me personally, as a fan, I just adore it. A fan of the genre and of good stories. Anyhow, then we get the next page. Again, issue 1 ended with the rider sitting down. Someone's asking, "Who are you?" Issue 2, not the first page, but second page, when the story kicks off, we have Tristan now sitting in a chair, and his sister is saying, "Who are you? Seriously, who even are you right now? Where's my brother, and what did you do with him?" They're arguing over the crazy headlines of the president is missing and all this other crazy stuff going on with rich people just pulling out, bouncing, making some different changes and some weird stuff, let's just say. Anyway, you have Tristan, you have his daughter Julie, you have Rebel, you have Chrissy, which is Lazaro's wife, and then you have Lazaro right here. This is one of Tristan's best friends, and then their kids right here, Chrissy and Lazaro's best friends. Tristan, we notice, is someone who has a background with liking, being a survivor, stockpiling food, likes the idea of being prepared for anything, home invasions, things like that, fighting or apocalypse, solar flares. I say apocalypse, but in this world they mean like asteroids or a terrorist attack. And again, that's important because in this world at this time, terrorism is high. There's a bit of a race war. So it makes sense that you would have certain people that would like to be ready in case their power went out for a few weeks or there was something going on. Anyway, so Tristan has a background out of this conversation. We get it. Tristan has a background in that. But he's not as easily convinced as Lazaro. Lazaro loves the conspiracy theories, and that's what they're talking about here. Tristan is like, he knows. Listen, in order for conspiracy theory websites to make more money, they need more conspiracies. If no one was doing anything wrong, they would stop making money. So, of course, the water is tainted by our special water. The food is bad by our special vitamins. So that's what Tristan's telling Lazaro. And a little bit of a hint at their characters here. And then we get the fireworks show. I love this part here because Lazaro's saying, fine, when, shit hits the fan, and you come crawling back to me, even though you doubted me at first, I'll allow you entrance into the bunker, he calls it. He says, I'm a good friend like that. His wife says, please, you mean your basement? And then Rebel, I love her sarcasm. I love her wit and her attitude. She says, better hope it's not an asteroid then. Again, these aren't stand-up comedians. They're not pulling wingers or, you know what I mean. But just how they come off a little bit more sarcastic and open. And Tristan says, don't listen to these crazy people. Look at the awesome fireworks. I was tempted to put, look at the awesome flowers. Anyway, I see them well, says Julie. Now, this is a establishing shot. It's a setup. Again, normal night, fireworks. Tristan brings his daughter home, tucks her in bed. He wants to say, good night, I love you. Doesn't want to wake her up. Then he just gets a beer, and he goes out, has his smoke. Again, we're seeing what he does. normal night, chilling. And then he checks the news on his phone. DART is an organization that is in this world. We will see that coming up again. But there's some different headlines that he decides to read. And then the next day, he gets some sleep. He takes his daughter to daycare. And I like this part. Hello, Barbara. That's a little Easter egg for Night of the Living Dead. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Anyway, so he drops his daughter off at daycare. This building is actually designed from a daycare in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. This story takes place in Wilkes-Barre for a number of reasons. One, it's my hometown. Two, I think it would be fantastic having something happen in that location. There's a lot of different buildings that look really, really cool. And three, I know the area so well. I lived there for so long. It's easy for me to get an idea of the layout and then have people running through the city and knowing where they're going to go. And then I could just tell the artist to look on Google Maps, check out this street or this going on. And he can see exactly what it looks like. And it's incredibly helpful. So anyway, he says goodbye to his daughter out the window. And there's a cop car that goes whizzing past. I don't want to annoy too many readers by putting little things in here and not explicitly stating what it is. I get frustrated when writers do that. Sometimes it's like, listen, I have the patience and I have a brain. Give me time. I will get it. So this is one of those things where you would likely think it has to do with the zombie outbreak. And that's what we want you to think. But then in issue 3, you find out, oh shit, something happened close by. Maybe that was what the cop was doing. And yes, that is what the cop was doing. It touches into something in issue 3, and we'll cover that when we do the issue 3 commentary. But I didn't want like this guy saying, oh, there was a bank robbery happening down the block, or, because then it's too on the nose. And it's okay if it takes a few issues before you reveal it, or maybe even you're supposed to let the reader read this issue 3 times, knowing, now he read 5 issues, and then he can go back and he goes, oh shit, I bet you any money that car was going to this and not for a zombie. So I know it's a little subtle, maybe a little too subtle, but I'm hoping we don't annoy too many people. We don't do that all the time, but with a handful of things, we leave it kind of subtle. Anyhow, next we have Katie at the restaurant. I freaking love Katie. She has a brutal scene coming up. I cannot wait for it. And again, it's not a death scene, so relax. It's not like a death spoiler, but there's a scene that has some brutality. Maybe in volume 3. It's not coming up for a while, but I can't wait. Anyway, we have the reporter saying there was another terrorist attack at GR Community Park. That stands for George Romero. That's just a little Easter egg. And then we introduce Marty. Marty was just a generic white dude originally, and I thought Peter Dinklage did such a great job on Game of Thrones. I thought, you know what? And again, I don't mean this to sound egotistical, but I believe in this story. I believe that this story has what it takes, to make it. And as a writer, do you really want someone writing a story that they don't believe has what it takes to, grow a fan base? No. So yes, in case this ever does become anything, a movie or whatever, I don't think we need another Walking Dead. Let me just say that outright. It's too soon. It's too early. It's not going to happen. We don't. But just in case it ever got picked up for a movie, I would like to know that I helped create a role for a little person. You know what I mean? I don't mean to sound like a dick. I'm just saying. He impressed me so much, I thought there's probably not a lot of roles for little guys. Here you go, man. Throw something in there, because Marty, and because of that, it created one of the most heartbreaking and awesome scenes coming up that I am in love with, and I can't wait to get to that. But anyway, so they have a little talk about his wife. His wife is a bitch, and she's also his boss. So we see just a regular day. You got Tristan showing up. Yo, Katie, what's going on? Then you got Shahid showing up. Just a couple buddies. Shahid and Lazaro and Tristan are best friends. You don't have to get it all at once. It slowly plays out through the story. But Katie's also a friend, but not the friend that like kicks it with them and shit like that. But she's nice to them, nice to Tristan's daughter and everything. And then we kind of show a little we normalize drugs a bit. Again, this isn't like crack they're talking about. They're talking about pills. Tristan talks about having Percocet. Anyway, so they're, Marty wants to get some pills. Tristan wants to get some. He says, nah, Marty, you can get it. I'll pick some up tomorrow. His phone rings, and it's the daycare. He's like, what do you mean? I just dropped her off. And they're like, nah, she's burning up. So he comes in. How is she? This on the radio here is interesting because this was this was an actual real life alert, and it went out in the news as I was lettering this comic. And it says the United States on Friday cut its diplomatic presence in Cuba by more than half and warned U.S. citizens not to visit because of mysterious attacks that have caused hearing loss, dizziness, and fatigue in the U.S. Embassy personnel. Now, that was taken word for word in the news alert, and I just left it as such because it fit perfectly. Anyway, we'll talk about the art more in the art commentary, but we have Julie here with a little teddy bear head being ripped off. I thought that was a great little moment. I had asked the artist to add an image of the bed here, and we got a little skeleton. That's foreshadowing coming up, but you got that petty Winnie the Pooh with the missing head here. I would imagine that's Winnie the Pooh. Anyway, so we'll discuss some of the art stuff when we get there, but I love this panel here. He's taking his daughter out. She's sick, and then we pull back. We have a full splash page of Wilkes-Barre General Hospital. We got a map news helicopter up there, and Tristan's saying, what the hell is going on? Again, this is modeled after a real hospital. And I love this moment because we start to hint at something we will discuss later on in the issues, but some of these things are going to be new. We don't want you to say, well, no, in real life that doesn't exist, or in real life we wouldn't be doing this. We want you to say, wait a minute, whoa, why is that happening? Because keep in mind, this isn't modeled exactly after modern day today, right this very moment. So keep that in mind. Anyhow, so the cop says, sir, please calm down. I love this part of the thing. Anyway, he says, what the hell is this? A piece of goddamn paper for a life? My kid isn't a TV or a fucking pack of socks. Will I need a refund? You stupid son of a bitch, And then the girl's like, where are my kids? This isn't right. You don't have the right. And then Tristan's trying to make Julie calm down. Easy now. It's okay. Another mom, you have to do something, please. This is madness. We will not just go home. This is not how this is supposed to work. I love this panel here with this cop, but the cop says, everyone please remain calm. There's a superbug going around that has hit Luzerne County hard and very fast. We need all the space we can make, and we must quarantine sick patients. But you have your numbers, and you can easily monitor your loved ones from home. We have volunteers for the children and elderly, but you need to let the hospital do their jobs. Please, we are trying to help. Now, again, this is a system that's set up where they can actually do like a Skype call to sick loved ones from the hospital. You can drop them off, and you have this intercom system. You can speak with them and yada, yada, yada. So you can be home sitting down and then check in on a loved one through that type of system. Anyway, so this guy says, if you leave your kid sick, if your kid's sick, leave. Don't bring her here. Go now. They'll take your little girl and make you leave with just a receipt and wait for online updates, and people say the site is down. This cop notices. I think this guy, we'll have to ask the artist, but I'm pretty sure that's a Heisenberg shirt. Anyhow, so Tristan's like, I'm not doing this. No way. Takes this kid out of there. The cop notices, and he says, listen, I'm not leaving her sick and alone with strangers. And the cop is telling him, no, I'm not here for that. Does she have a fever? My kid came down with a fever. There's nothing you can do. Go home and make her comfortable. I wasn't there when my son died. I wasn't there for him. If her temp goes higher than 103, there's nothing that can be done. And again, this cop is just devastated. So Tristan's like, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. The cop puts on his hat, pulls out his gun, and blam, one of my favorite panels ever. I love that coloring and the look. And I know it seems drastic, but the backstory, which, I could probably spill the beans here. Part of the backstory is brutal. And it essentially has to do with, yes, his son did die. He wasn't there, but there's something else as well. He caught his wife feasting on their infant child in their crib. Like we're talking about newborn baby. He went through a bit of an ordeal. He really technically shouldn't be on the job in here, and there's a whole written reason about that. It was going to be a little short story. I would love to still maybe pen that out, but it was going to be something in between issues where we could just release for Doomsday Kingdom fans. But he was going to get one of the first short stories when it came to Doomsday Kingdom. Again, in between issues. Novel, not a comic. But anyway, so we go to a garage. Ding, ding, ding. Rebel's there to pick up her car, but no one's there. Lazaro finds blood on the floor. He's like, maybe someone got hurt. And I do like this interaction because Tristan is like, listen, Julie's sick. I'm going to head home. He's kind of laying out the plans for what's going on. And then Rebel says, something isn't right here either. No one is here at the auto shop, and Lazaro found some blood on the floor. Tell my little angel I'll bring her soup later with a box of kisses and a side of hugs. And then Tristan says, Rebel, fuck the car, just leave. I don't want yous in that shop. And yous is something people say in my old neighborhood all the time. A lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people. So I want to be authentic to how people talk in that neighborhood. So yeah, I don't want yous in that shop a minute longer. Something is going on. Someone could be sick. Don't touch anything in that place and get the hell out of there. Go home. I'll be there when I can. And then Lazaro says that his kid was sick. So Tristan tells him what the cop said. And he said, keep an eye on her temp. And again, this is just issue 2. There's more of this that you'll see. The story will bounce back and forth. It'll snake back around. We will see what happened with Lazaro, with his kids and his kid having a fever. Anyway, Tristan talks about taking his kid home, letting her get a nap, and then figuring out where to go. I love this part, though. He says, I'm going to let Julie take a nap while I get a few things to stay at Rebel's. Now, Rebel and Lazaro are neighbors, and again, we'll figure this out. You don't have to know it right away, but that's why it makes sense where he's saying, I'm going to Lazaro's, I'm going to Rebel's. It's because they're neighbors, but I don't want to spell it out because real people won't talk like that, I'm going to Lazaro's and Rebel's, because they're neighbors. Anyway, I'll call when I'm coming, but please, no more blood trails. Get out of there. I like that part. And then this one here, it says, come on, let's get the hell out of here. You're not curious at all about the blood, not even a little. And then Rebel says, if I didn't think I looked goofy when I run, I'd be running away by now. So no, not even a little curious. Now, this is something I learned when I was real young. I'm talking like maybe 14. I read a book on writing that talked about paying attention to real life people and how they talked and what they said and, what areas of the world they were from. And again, how look at everyone and how they talk, wherever they're from, whatever they look like. Look at the mannerisms and yada, 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 and pull from real life experience. Well, I worked with a girl who said something about, if she didn't think she looked goofy when she ran, she'd be running by now. And that ended up getting into the script. A lot of, what I hear from people, a lot of it does end up in the dialogue I write for characters because you're pulling from real life. And I think that makes it better. So if you're a writer out there, that is a trick. Pay attention to everyone, how they talk and what they say and how they say it. Now, you don't want to write exactly how people talk because people talk really broken, So you want it authentic, but not too authentic or else it'll be just all over the place. Anyway, then it's revealed the guy in the auto shop was killed. And we got a little The Walking Dead Easter egg here where he got a screwdriver through the eye like the RV walker. Now, he was attacked in the garage and then he was finished out here by the tree. just to clarify that if you were curious. So Tristan makes it home. Again, establishing shot. We're back at his house. This is something we'll see 2 more times or so, not in this issue, but in the story. And then Tristan shuts his door. We have a panel that's actually similar to a panel layout or a page layout in issue number 1. I think that's kind of neat. And then we got his daughter's like, I love you, Daddy. Please don't go to work. She's real sick, not feeling good. He's like, no. We're going to get you resting. We're going to take care of you. Let's just find a doctor that's going to be able to see you. He takes her temp. It's 104. And he's starting to freak out. He's calling around. All the emergency lines are done. And she says, Daddy, it hurts. I don't know, my muscles, I'm so tired, will you cuddle with me? So her whole body's she's on fire, her muscles hurt, her joints hurt. And then he picks up Julie. Now, this is a decision. I ran into an issue where I had to repeat, in order for the interactions between 2 characters to feel organic and real, I had to repeat something. You had to see it, and then you heard it. And I wanted a way where we didn't have to repeat it. So what I did was, you have the scene with Tristan and Julie. He's saying to rest up, and she's asking if they can go for a walk when she's better. And he kind of spells out the plan. Sure, you get some sleep. I'm probably going to take you to the car when you're sleeping. I got to get you to a doctor and get you some medicine. And then he says, be my brave little girl. And she says, yep, brave like you and mommy. And then her hand starts to slide off his cheek. And he's like, I love you, Julie. Now, this is where there's time missing. There's, from this panel, I love you, Julie. He doesn't know she's dead. To this panel, boom. He knows she's dead, and she's been dead for a few minutes. And he's in shock, and he's stunned, and he's repeating, I'm sorry. Now, I did ask the artist to change this around a bit. There was a span of time. We will get into the details, but essentially, basically, it was right after this panel, he had a freak out moment, CPR, picking up the phone, trying to call someone, like that. That is what happened in between. But we will see that again. And again, it's for a small reason, but I felt it was better to do something like this and then have you come back around and see why than to duplicate it. Because if I glossed over it, an interaction between him and Rebel in the future wouldn't be right. And again, we'll talk about that in that issue's commentary. Anyway, so she's officially dead, and he's on autopilot. Now, remember, in the beginning of issue 2, he was on. He put her to bed, and he went out for a smoke. Again, it's coming back around. He's on autopilot. He's shocked. He's done. And that was the decision, in part, why the story is the way it is, as far as, 4th of July, coming home, it's fine, go to bed, whoop-de-whoop. It even connects with him saying, I love you now, because before he put her to bed, he didn't want to wake her up. He wanted to say goodnight, I love you. He didn't. But now she's sick and hurt and falling asleep and dying. He doesn't know it at this very second, but immediately after, he's worried. But and then it comes back around full circle to what we saw on a normal day, to where we have a Tristan who's on autopilot and goes out for a smoke, and he's shocked. I mean, emotionally, he's in this emotional denial where he's keeping everything at bay. And again, this will come out in the story. We'll dive in deeper with this. And then the phone rings, and again, he's dazed. He's just, look at him, just staring like, He hears a phone ring, and autopilot turns around, walks back to where the phone is. And then the camera pans out. There's a little cubby hole here next door, and we see his neighbor killed his wife. And this is important because this is a stage 1, what we call the weeper. And keep in mind, he's not eating her guts. He's not feasting on her. It's the blood. He's licking and drinking the blood. Oops, sorry. And the cell phone gets his attention. He's licking the blood. Cell phone gets his attention. And maybe he was making a little bit of noise too. I mean, keep in mind, he's sitting there with a dead body drinking the blood. So maybe he was making some noise. But Tristan's zoning. He's zoned out. And he just kind of lit the cigarette. So then he goes back in the house. Ring, ring, ring. Walks around the corner. We get the shadow. Ring, ring, ring. He picks it up. Shit. Rebel. He can't even think. His brain hurts. She's dead. Oh my God, she's dead. Oh my God, what do I tell Rebel? They were like the best of friends. And then we hear, help me. Is this person hurt? Who is this person? You know? Saying help me can't be a zombie. And then we get the reveal. It was, again, stage 1, called a Weeper. Stalker, Weeper. It's the same thing, but you can call it whatever you want. But we'll give it official names when it has an official name in the story, and you'll understand why. But you right now, codename you can call stage 1 is Stalker or a Weeper. That's fine. I'm cool with either or. Anyway, so then Tristan looks back. And it's dun-dun-dun. Actually, this works better when you see the whole page. And it's kind of just like, you know, help me. And then he looks and it's like, oh shit, that is not someone who's hurt. That's someone who did the hurting. That's what we know. Tristan doesn't know. He just killed his wife and drank her blood. You got his little rubber ducky looking all scary right there. Anyway, so next, issue 3, Bloodbath. We got Katie in a bloodbath. The feeding post, this is cool because we had some people sending us the pictures of the first promo artwork from issue number 1 we sent out. We got a few more images back, but I think these were the ones we had when we went to print. I don't think we could fit them all either. But if you want to write in and get your letter featured in Doomsday Kingdom issue 4, 5, 6, use this email only and send it in. Because we're definitely freeing up one page. It'll always go under the feeding post, either one page or more, depending on how much space we have. We're going to print your letters. So if you have something to say about the comic, good or bad or whatever, send us an email, get printed in the issue. This is cool. This was the very first physical copy we ever had printed from a printer, from a U.S. printer. I thought that was awesome. And then this was the artist of Doomsday Kingdom, James Milne, meeting with the artist of The Walking Dead. He gave him a copy of our comic. And then the next day, the artist of The Walking Dead drew the writer. You know, I think that's so freaking cool. You get an image of the writer drawn by the artist who does The Walking Dead in his style. So freaking awesome, man. So freaking awesome. I'm jealous. I want a copy of that. I should tell him to just scan it. I could take a print copy. I don't need the real thing because it looks freaking cool. Anyway, and then we have some more stuff sent in. Me and Juliet instead of Joel and Ellie. This is some fan art. We have more fan art. Again, we're trying to incorporate some things to spice it up a bit, make it a little more interesting. The back of the comic has the map logo, has the website, doomsdaykingdom.com, and then we have the Rider Among Creeps. This is an awesome piece of artwork. It connects with 2 other images. On the left is Rick Among Walkers. The middle is the Rider Among Creeps. And then you have Joel and Ellie Among Clickers. It's a 3-piece art piece. I love it. And this is me as a creep. If I was a creep, this is what I'd look like. Anyhow, that is issue number 2. And I've got to say, without the support from the community, we never would have made it to issue 2 and then issue 3 and now issue 4. We are releasing issue 4 physical soon once we collect the sales from the digital release. And then we're moving on to issue 5. And once we move on to issue 5 is when it gets big, because then we're going to combine issues 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the very first trade paperback, Volume 1, which will be just Doomsday Kingdom, Volume 1. It'll contain just the story. No breaks, no interruptions, just the story from issue 1 all the way to issue 5 in one collective set. In one book, you could just buy that. For those who want to wait and get the volumes, that's going to be really important because we're going to do crowdfunding. And again, it is up to the audience. I would love to do single issues. If every single person interested in Doomsday Kingdom said, nah, let's just buy volumes, maybe we'd talk with the artist and see what that would look like. But I'm very interested in doing covers and single issues. Me personally, that's where, I love it. I love reading volumes as well, but who knows? You never know with this industry and what's going to happen in the future. Again, I place my bet with single issues, and then when we have enough to collect, put it in volumes. But you guys are the consumers. What are you interested in? What would you be interested in backing and help supporting so that way we can keep this story out there? And we'll do things on our end. We're going to look for a publisher soon. We want to get issue 4 shipped out and then issue 5 done. And we're going to look for a publisher. See about getting this comic in the shops. I think that would be beneficial for everybody, us and you guys as well. That way you can go right to your comic shop, Anyhow, thank you very much for hanging out with me this whole time talking about Doomsday Kingdom issue number 2. If you had any questions or curious about anything, put your questions down in the comment box. Maybe we'll pull some of your questions for a Doomsday Kingdom Q&A. I'm not really sure. Now that The Walking Dead is done as a comic, again, me as a comic reader, I want something, anything, even if it's not the next Walking Dead, I'll take anything, and that's Doomsday Kingdom included. Instead of looking forward to reading a zombie comic every month, I'm going to look forward to writing a zombie comic every month until we get this beast up. And I was going to make a zombie joke, but I got nothing. But anyway, thank you guys very much for the support. We really couldn't have done it without you. And we're almost 5 issues in. Here's to the next 5, because we're not stopping. We are not stopping. Love you guys. Matt family for life.